Last week I had promised my viewers that I was going to talk a little bit about permissions and getting permissions to metal detect on private property. Okay, well, first of all, I want to welcome all of our new subscribers. We've got like 2,500 new subscribers in 7 days. That's like the most I've ever gotten in 7 days. And it's all thanks to the Crazy Lamp Lady videos. But for all of you new subscribers, I'm just gonna throw it out there. This channel is my love of treasure hunting, and my treasure hunting love kind of encompasses both metal detecting and crazy lamp ladying. So this video here is going to be dedicated to metal detecting. So if you're really not feeling the whole metal detecting thing, you don't need to watch this video. But if you are and you're interested and you're curious, you just go ahead and watch. But I just want to throw it out there so you're not like halfway through the video and you're like, what am I watching? Why am I watching? Anyway, last week I had promised my viewers that I was going to talk a little bit about permissions and getting permissions to metal detect on private property. I am no expert by any means. I hate door knocking with a passion, but here we are. So you've got your new metal detector for Christmas and you've completely exhausted your backyard. You've dug like every single target out of your backyard, every bottle cap, every wad of aluminum foil, every penny that you could possibly find, and you're done. I mean, what do? Do you sell your detector? No, you don't. You're not done. You're gonna go out, venture out into the big wide world, and you're gonna find someplace else to metal detect. So you have a couple options. You can go to a local park. You can hit up all of your friends and relatives and be like, hey, you got an old house? Because I got a metal detector and I'd love to like putz around your yard, you know? Or you can just approach complete strangers and be like, hey, hi, I'm Jocelyn. I would love to dig in your yard, you know? That's not really how you do it. Don't do it that way. It'll probably be no. We'll get to that though. So let's start with local parks. So you go from detecting your backyard, you're gonna go to local parks. Now, granted, let's preface this by saying you must know how to dig a plug. Once you've dug your entire yard, everything out of your yard, I would hope that you would know how to dig a proper plug. There are videos on YouTube. Personally, I have not made a video on YouTube about it, but there is a proper technique to digging a plug. It's not just, oh, I've got a signal, I'm gonna dig this massive hole and throw dirt all over the yard. It's like there's a technique where you cut a hole in the grass and you remove the grass and you retrieve your object, put the grass back and you pat it down and you make it look like you were never even there. You need to master that before you take my advice on this video, because if you move from like digging your yard and it looks like there's a bunch of craters into public parks or a stranger's yard, we're gonna have issues and it's gonna look bad on all of us. So let's make sure we've practiced the technique and we're ready for this. Okay, so moving forward. Local parks. A lot of people assume that because they are public property, you can metal detect them because they're public property. That's not true. There are some public parks, just here in the local township, you are not allowed to metal detect. It is forbidden. But it's not specifically, you are not allowed to metal detect. It is, you are not allowed to excavate or remove any objects from the park. And that loosely translates to you're not allowed to metal detect. And I know that because I called and I asked and they're like, did you read the line where it says you are not allowed to? I'm like, yeah, no metal detecting. Okay, fine, no metal detecting, I got it. Okay. So it's very important, whether you go to a local park or not, to figure out the rules of the local park, because we got another local park and it's like metal detecting is allowed, just please don't leave holes, you know? So it really depends on your township, your local laws, where you are. So that's important to know. Some places you need permits. You need to find out where you need to get a permit to dig. I mean, there is just so many rules, but you need to know who to talk to and you need to follow the rules, because one person who doesn't follow the rules looks bad on all of us. The same goes for digging proper plugs. One person who can't dig a hole looks bad on all of us. So we're all just trying to like be a good community altogether. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit about local parks, and I think local parks are good. I think it's a good idea to go from your own backyard into local parks and kind of putz around a little bit, and from there maybe move on and bug your neighbors and your friends and your relatives, and you know, find out who owns the old properties. You know, go on Facebook and be like, excuse me, but does anybody own a property that's older than 1892? And then just put the feelers out there, and then hit them up and be like, can I metal detect there? I mean, that's like the logical thing, because then at least you have that connection where maybe they're more likely to say yes if they're like, oh yeah, I've got a property. Or if you have that personal connection, milk that, you know what I'm saying? Like, get on that. We don't all have that. So that's another option for you, is to reach out to your friends. If you're in any local clubs, I know, for instance, my son is playing lacrosse, so I'll sit in the bleachers with the other parents, and it's like, yeah, what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, I'm a lawyer. Oh yeah, I make YouTube videos about metal detecting. Yeah, do you own an old property? Like, it's usually not like just jumping right to that, but you know, just like a little bit of like maneuvering, and like, oh yeah, you own a 1700s colonial house. Has it ever been metal detected? You know, so I mean, you really want to like kind of ease it into conversation and see what you can get. But the last and final option is actually strangers. Okay, this is the fun one. When I first started metal detecting, I was all gung-ho about like, I'm gonna go door knocking, I'm gonna get permissions, and I'm gonna do it all by myself. It's a horrible idea. I don't know why at the time I thought it was a good idea, but I did. That was until I knocked on this one door, and this guy answered the door, and his eyes were like the most bloodshot I have ever seen in my entire life, and he had track marks all up his arm. Like, it was, I stood there and I thought to myself, this was a horrible idea. What was I thinking? And since that day, I dread door knocking. I hate door knocking. It's one of my least favorite things to do. I do it though. I do it because I love digging up old stuff, and all the places you see in my YouTube videos was a result of approaching a stranger and asking them to metal detect. I wouldn't have found any of that stuff if I hadn't just sucked that up and moved on. But I did learn from that experience that it's always important to have somebody with you, whether that person is sitting in the car or whether they're there with you when you knock on the door. Have somebody with you. It's a buddy system. Even, you know, you don't even have to be a young female. I mean, even if you're a dude, have somebody with you. It's important. You know, a guy could answer the door with a shotgun, and you know, things could only go bad from there. I mean, have somebody with you. It's very important, please. But aside from that, door knocking has always been kind of our last resort. Our first resort is usually driving around on a Sunday afternoon and looking for people who are already outside doing yard work. Because then you're not knocking on the door. You don't know what you don't know who you're interrupting. So for that reason, I like to approach people who are already outside mowing the lawn, doing yard work. But I always start it with a compliment, like, we were driving by and noticed your beautiful home. We love historic properties, and we're really into the hobby of metal detecting, and I was wondering, would you mind if we metal detected your yard? Has it ever been metal detected before? And then of course they'll kind of hem and haw, and usually if they start like that, like, oh, no, my yard, blah blah blah, say, oh well, we don't dig holes, you know, we cut plugs, we cut the grass, and we retrieve the object, and we put the grass back, and you won't even know that we were here. We're very careful not to leave any evidence. We like to leave the property as though we were never even there. And that's the truth, and that's how you should leave a property, like you were never there. Remove all your trash, cover all your plugs. It's important, you know, so that carries over, because maybe they know somebody who has another historic property, so you want to leave a good impression. But besides yards, I mean, one of the things you can do is, if you've done your research based on my previous videos that have been geared towards helping you guys, and you've found a home site in a field. Farmers are so easy to approach, especially if you're asking permission for an unplanted field. I mean, it's so much easier than a yard, because people are so anal about their yards, like their grass, their yards, and you never know if you're gonna, well actually you do. You're driving by that house and you see the grass that's all zigzag cut and you're like, not gonna ask permission for that one because they take great pride in their yard. But then you're driving by another one, it's like all this crabgrass and you're like, all right, that's a good one, let's go ask, you know? But farmers are really pretty easygoing. And that's the other thing is people always ask me like, okay, well, do you have to give them all your stuff? And like, we get permissions for these home sites out in the middle of the field and I will show the farmer, I'll bring him a handful, I'll be like, this is what we got. And he'll look at it and like, these copper discs and stuff, I'll be like, oh, all right, yeah, okay, cool. Like they could care less. Like, no, they don't want this stuff. They like, all right, yeah, whatever. Okay, all right, I'll just stick this back in my pocket and be on my way. I mean, but I tell them that. I mean, one of the main questions they ask is, what if you find something of value? And that's the other thing is like, well, we rarely find anything of value. It's just, once it's been in the ground that long, it's been exposed to the elements for 200 years, we're usually not gonna find, you know, there's nothing really of value. So that's important to kind of get across to them. And I just, you know, I'm a history nerd. For me, I'm into this hobby because for me, there's no greater feeling than pulling like a button out of the earth that was lost 200 years ago off of someone's coat. That's why I do it. It's not because I'm trying to get rich. And that's what I tell them. And I think they appreciate that. It's like they realize, oh, well, she's just not out here looking for gold coins. She appreciates, you know, finding a button in my field. Okay, whatever, go have at it, girl, whatever. You know, getting permissions really isn't that hard, but I'll be honest, you are gonna be told no. We are told no, like, there have been days we've gone out and we've been told no like 4 times in a row. And we're just like, okay, it's just not meant to be today. You will be told no, but it's important to just not let it knock you down because there are more properties out there and there's no reason to just give up because you were told no. And for the most part, if you're smiling and you're friendly, even the no's are like nice, if that makes sense. They're like, well, you know, I'd rather you didn't dig in the yard because, and it's usually, oh, don't, you know, then I'm apologizing. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. No, it's really fine, you know. So it's not as scary as you think. One of the things I would suggest is carrying a business card with you. I have a business card that just has my name, my phone number, and then I have the code of ethics, metal detecting ethics on the back, which basically says that I'm not gonna leave open holes, I'm gonna take my trash with me. It's just the basic code of ethics, and I'll give that to them. Be like, here's my card, you know, if there's any issues, just, you know, contact me. And that's pretty much that. Getting permission for places really isn't that scary. If this whole thing intimidates you and you're like scared of it, and go with the, oh look, there's somebody mowing their lawn, they have an old house, I'm gonna pull off the road and I'm gonna approach them. And just be friendly and be smiley and, you know, and you'll do fine. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you know of anything that I missed that's important for this video, because you guys always like chime in with the best stuff. I've been reading through some of the comments on these past videos, and you guys have great advice that I totally missed in these videos. So feel free to leave comments down below that you think could also be helpful for people looking for permissions. And oh gosh, I need a glass of water or something. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the video for today. I hope it was helpful for everyone. If you want me to elaborate, if you want me to talk a little bit more about it, let me know. But I think we've pretty much covered permissions. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do next week's video on, because I think I've talked about pretty much everything I can talk about. But tomorrow, Andrew and I are gonna try to go metal detecting because the ground has thawed enough that we can go detecting. And next week, it's gonna be like 2 degrees. So this is like our little itty bitty window where we can get out and dig. We're gonna take advantage of it. So I hope you guys are all doing well. We're looking for that opportunity to go out digging. The digging videos are still happening if the ground just thaws a little bit. So don't abandon my channel yet, because I'm just trying to get through winter. All right, we'll see you later. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and whether you're looking for your first metal detector or you'd like to upgrade your current machine, we carry the full line of Garrett metal detectors, and I put a link to our website down in the description.
you, you're so sweet. I'm gonna take you home.